Can't tell me you care if you forget what you're supposed to do, because we go over it more than anybody, our scouting. Can't tell me you care if you watch when we shoot the ball and you don't go after the rebound. Good year, but we're not going to be significant and have a chance to make a run in March if we don't go after the ball like our life's on the line when the shot comes off the rim, on both ends. And then we got to play defense with purpose and accountability to each other and force shots over us. No more layups, no blow-bys. They kick it out, shoot a three, guard the ball, stay in front, and then rotate and attack and rotate and attack. Just don't think we played hard enough defensively for part of this Big Ten season. We all got to accept the fact that we're going to hold each other to a really high standard from an effort standpoint, a concentration standpoint, and playing physical.
I mean, who the hell said we were so good? Not me. You know, I mean, we're good, but we have flaws. And the flaws are if we don't play at the level we need to play at on a defensive end, if we get out-rebounded the first half, if we take too many threes, you know, Jace kept us in it. And we had some guys that just, you know, I mean, you saw them driving by guys like we were statues. I mean, we ain't winning any more games, so I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat and tell you I'm excited how we played just because we won, because that's not going to get me where I think we can go and need to go. And I said if we start shooting the ball better, we have a chance, as long as our defense continues to do what it did. Tonight we decided to exchange that, and so poor job on my part.
Well, I thought that our competitive desire matched what I'm asking for the guys, and our will to win at Northwestern, our commitment to playing harder than our opponent showed in our rebounding, where we were dominant. And you know, Pat Riley used to say, what happens when the ball's on the floor or in the air decides who wins a lot of games. 99% of these games in this league, it's hard to win. It's hard to win, because when you start talking about fighting spirit and competitiveness, it's not that you know, like I'm trying to tell you, it's not that you're not sweating or trying. It's are you doing it more than them? You know, and Michigan State's going to win our league because they've been the most consistent, hard-playing team in our league. You know, but we're worried about becoming that team for the NCAA tournament. So Saturday's another opportunity to build. It's minutes played. You got to be able to handle minutes played. It's called building your toughness level. Like in our league, Braden Smith, I mean, you know, I want whatever that guy's taking, I want some of it. He's a fountain of youth. I mean, he plays 40 minutes a game at Purdue, plays harder than everybody, he's faster than everybody, and he's better than everybody. And the guy's unbelievable.
This team has unique character. They never give up, even though Jones was having an incredible game. They just stayed with it. Sim made a fantastic play at the end, and I can't be more proud of this team. They do it every night for me. We're not always the best team, but we're one of the hardest working teams in America.
You know, too much goes on in youth basketball where it's about me and not we. And it's not the kids' fault. They're a product of the system. And then they get to guys like me or Coach Izzo. Not that I apologize. Me and Kevin Willard, we can't compare ourselves to Coach Izzo. Way out of my lane there. I'm not in his league. But, you know, we're trying to tell you got to play defense, you got to play smart. You know, everybody else just lets them run around and shoot every time. Get beat on defense, they don't come out. You know, it's not helping them, though. It's not helping them. That's why you hear all the NBA guys now talking about why there's so many Europeans, because they actually play real basketball. There's no such thing as a pickup game in Europe. I thought we played with tremendous conviction to our game plan. Trying to grow. We still got things. We had some egregious fouls in the first half, 3, trying to foul guys that had no chance to score, and that becomes a discipline issue. Things like that are why teams win or lose championships. You lose a championship fouling a guy, taking a hard shot, or he's getting ready to shoot over a 7'3" guy. You don't reach in. But other than that, I thought our focus was unbelievable. Defensively, we made it hard on them, extremely hard, took away the things that they're best.
The trick when you're going through that is that you must keep picking them up. You ready? But you still got to be a truth teller, and you got to hold them accountable. But pick them up. Say, I love you, but you're not doing the right stuff right now. You're playing really hard, but you're not doing enough for us. And playing hard in itself is not good enough. You must. That's a given. Then the rest of the stuff you're going to have to get.
I just was praying this morning. I was like, I just want to see them be the best version of themselves for each other. And that's what I got to see today, is them just find a way in unpredictable ways. I just told them in the locker room, if you had told me we were going to turn the ball over 24 times and get out rebounded by 11 and still win, I would have told you were crazy. But this group just said, we'll find a way. There's no panic. They had great poise, and they did it with defense. We had 9 kills in the game, and that's a huge thing. Kills are 3 stops in a row, and that was the difference. The number one thing that I have tried to stay committed to is this is not about me. This is about serving young people through basketball and helping them become who they want to become and impact who they want to impact. And it's just really not about me. I'm thrilled that they got rewarded for their hard work, and do is commit to being the more physical team. We always say the tougher, more together team wins.
Clearly what they mean to me. This doesn't happen if players don't believe in the vision of a head coach, staff doesn't believe in it, but I specifically wanted to talk to our players and tell them how proud I am of them and thank them and their families for believing in, just our vision, my vision as a head coach, and they've executed it ever since they moved on campus. The recruiting process is one thing, but when you allow, barriers to be broken and trust to be built, the job's not.
Will appreciate and remember this. We talked about the progression of team going from coach fed to player led. And the last 60 days or so, we've progressed into that space.
Plays. We were able to turn those plays into points. Shauna was huge for us, taking charges. We've talked a lot the last 2 days of we're going to help with our heart, not our hands. We can't just put people at the foul line, and she took that to heart. She took it to heart, and she put her body in front, and she was willing to take it for the team, and those were a lot of big plays for us.
It is. These guys are just winners, and they find ways to impact the game. Each of them they're so talented in their own ways, but each of them have different gifts and things that they bring to the table. And Agnes, that's Agnes. Like, she's just the backbone, the warrior, and she finds ways to impact winning. And so, again, I think that's one of the reasons we are hard to kill. There's so many weapons. There's so much talent. And each of them complement each other, and they're all, we talked about yesterday, they all just want to win. And none of us want this journey to end or this ride to end. So,
yeah, I mean, it means everything. And again, it's just more evidence of, how perfect God's timing has been in my life. And I was thinking about it even at the beginning of the tournament. And, as humans, we always question, why things are happening to us, why we're going through things. And if I wouldn't have had the experiences that I've had in the past, I would not be able to realize this blessing that I have in front of me with TCU to its fullest potential. I would have not been the person that would be able to capitalize off of what this opportunity has been for me.
It's similar to Haley's story. As you build something, there's adversity along the way, and you need part of that adversity to become what you need to become.
Just at times, right, toughness and playing hard isn't quite enough. You got to execute. Attention to detail becomes critical.
Every game's a game of 3 runs, and we had one in the first half. They had one in the second half, and then we were able to finish the game on the run.
And you're right, the bench was impactful in so many different ways. Yeah, they made some baskets, but they rebounded, they defended, they showed versatility, they executed our offense when we needed them to.
How do you guys kind of manage that to where you can take this as a lesson going into the NCAA tournament next week?
Yeah, it's controlling the things you can control. And, tournament basketball is low turnovers, it's defense, it's rebounding.
Well, Coach Tasha did a great job today in leading us in an activity about success leaves clues. So what are the clues that we need to really hold on to from what happened? And she broke them into groups and had them just write them all down. And what were specific examples of how we made player-led choices, whether in how we watched film and how we did walkthroughs, in timeouts, at halftime, certain moments during the game, really trying to etch those into our, subconscious and conscious about what led to what we wanted and how do we really scale that and continue that. And so I think if you don't really mark it down and have those reference points, it's hard to make sure that you repeat them.
Guys, we've got a group of individuals that are very committed to winning, and they don't care who the leading scorer is each night. And for the first time in a long time, we have games and no one's tweeting their stats or looking at stat sheets or concerned about how many points they scored. All they care is that we have more points than our opponent, and I don't know where to begin or end. I'll start with this: the stat sheet doesn't tell the story about this team. I've had a lot of good teams, talent, toughness, skill. This team has a combination of everything. But what makes this team special is their commitment to one another and the sacrifices that they were all willing to make.
And if it doesn't, then we'll be ready to play. I mean, our guys are resilient, man. Look, there's been a lot of stuff happen to this team on and off the floor. And they just keep showing up and fighting. So if they got to sleep in 85-degree weather and that's what the league wants us to do, then we'll figure it out and we'll come back tomorrow and fight and do our best against Wisconsin. Yeah, and Clayton too.
I think Clayton was your guts today.
I thought all 3 of those guys. I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting at. I mean, you talk about a guy like Justin Mullins. He's been in and out of our rotation the first 20 games, and then all of a sudden you lose 2 perimeter guys, and he becomes a starter. And Clayton was redshirting. And he, what a story, right? Guy steps forward, he volunteers, puts his hand up, says, my team needs me after sitting for 20 games. And for him to come out today on the biggest stage, and to get 11 points and play great defense and take care of the ball and be poised. I mean, all 3 of those guys were big, and I thought we did a good job.
You bring a group of guys together from around the world, from the Bronx to Lithuania to Serbia to, you name it. And you bring them together and that they were as coachable as they were. And it didn't matter coachable whether it's on the court, but also when we talked to them about, hey, academics, you need to do this or that, they did it. We said you need to go here, they were there. And this has been, to have that type of coachable team, when you pull them together to last minute, and then to see them continue to get their head, man, we fight, we go all the way to the end, but we fall short. We get a lead and we can't hold it. And yet they never lost heart. They kept fighting, they kept working, they kept coming together. They never turned on each other. They never turned on our coaches, which says a whole lot about my assistant coaches. From Coach Rizzo to Coach Edney to Coach Grubbs, Coach Doig, Coach Calvert. It says a lot about my staff as well, that these guys stayed together the way they did and they worked the way they did, and the improvement. But let me tell you what, when you go through adversity like we went through, and guys just continue to give it their best every single day and are coachable every day, I've never experienced something like this. And that's what these guys did. And
so they're pretty dependable. They're a special group. Those 3 seniors are a special group. They really check all the boxes of what you want a player to be, person to be, but a player, like play hard, show up, dependable, team guy, do the extra things, leadership. They check them all. And it's very rare you get 3 seniors, especially nowadays, that have been in your program the whole time and are those guys. I mean, they couldn't wait to return last year. They couldn't wait. We didn't have to have a conversation. They were coming back. So, and that's kind of how they approached the year, and they've been phenomenal. We've had
I don't know because I'm not playing against him, right? So our guys, I think, they learn quickly. The coaching staff, not just me, the coaching staff here is always going to be prepared. That we have to we're so prepared that we have to be careful. There's times where I have to tell my staff, look, these guys, their heads are going to explode. So we got to give them a condensed scouting report. We don't need, because we rotate, right? So the guys see our preparation, and then I tell my assistants all the time that you can't underestimate your impact. So and I'm not a guy that I coach to practice and nobody else says anything. I'm the opposite. I want guys coaching all the time. You can't underestimate your impact on whether it's keeping a guy's head up, his coaching morale, coaching body language, coaching technique, and teaching. There's something to do on every play, even if it's just go pat a guy on the behind and tell him keep your head up. There's something to do on every play. Don't be a mannequin. So the guys know, and I take heat for this because I say, it's whatever I say, but the guys know I try to hold all of us to a high standard, all of us, okay? And that starts with me. So it proves my number one point that I said on day one of my job at UCLA. Winning is fun.
Yep.
People say, hey, you got to let them play. I don't know anybody that has fun getting their ass beat. I want people to be able to define us or our limitations or expectations as a team, okay? So we're not interested in what other people think, okay? So our belief is that if we can become a great defensive team that's tough, that rebounds, that makes you uncomfortable. On offense, we worry about 2 things. Take care of the ball, and everybody knows the shots they can make. Everybody knows, hey, Eric Daly's a shot maker. Him and Tyler can make guarded shots, and we expect you to take those shots. We try. So again, that goes belief. I try to show them I have belief in them. So just don't turn it over. And we have enough. We're going to score if we don't turn it over. Now, and we've improved at going to rebound it. That goes back to effort. So our belief has to be the truth, though, that we got to believe also that if we don't really, if you don't prepare to try to win a tournament and be a team that can stop one of the best teams in the country and execute against a tough, hard-nosed defensive team, then you can't believe you're going to win. You got no chance to make a run and have a chance at a title. So our belief is rooted in reality. But I try to spend a lot of time with these guys on how important it is that they don't buy into what society says about them, fans, media, whatever. That you have to be rooted in reality, and that's hard. It's hard this day and age for these kids. So I try to be the bringer of truth, but also the bringer. Okay, well, what's the plan to get what you want?
He shot the one. I don't know if it got tipped or what, but it was an air ball. And he passed up a couple immediately after. I said, just because you miss a shot, we're not passing up open threes. That's not how we're doing it. So, he stayed aggressive. He only hit the one, but at least he was aggressive, which keeps him honest, and then he's able to get downhill. I thought that, we wanted to turn up our defensive intensity. Thought we did. Our ball pressure, official box score has us 29 points off turnover, so I thought our ball pressure caused them some problems. Our plan was to try to keep them out of transition, get them off the three-point line, pressure the ball on defense.
You got to watch film, look at things, but when you're putting the ball in the right people's hands and they're getting quality shots, and that's what the defense is giving you, you just got to stick with it. And for us to win this game tonight, we had to be better on the defensive end, and we weren't. And but all season,
our defense is better when we're making shots because they're going against a set defense. The thing is, like, for us, we split it, right? We always talk offense and defense. We have to be better defensively, and we have to be a better defensive team. And at times it's doing our job and being consistent. Then at other times it's when it gets to a certain point, we don't have great rim protection, so we can't let it get there. And I know I talk about that a lot, but I think that's part of the frustration. I'll also talk about when guys shoot the basketball well, they feel better about themselves. They play better on the other end and stuff. And I think you kind of saw some of that frustration mount, here, when we have struggled offensively, it's affected our defense, which in the first place, we're not a defensive juggernaut, right? And we got to do a better job, of that, and just being able to grind it. That's why the USC game for us was a good win. It was a grinder, and anytime we get in those situations and kind of fight our energy, we bring energy when we make shots. Well, you're not always going to make shots, and so that's what we've always pushed on this whole season. It's we got to have great energy. We got to stay with it, no matter if the ball's going in or not. But you can see where it hurts us from time to time. But I talk a lot about hand activity and having active hands and trying to get deflections and doing that without taking yourself out of defensive position. So when you don't have that rim protection and you don't have that, the last thing you want to do is to get really aggressive and just get blown by. But we got to do a better job of having that and understand, in ball screen defense or dealing with the post, having those hand activity to make it difficult on them, but not go crazy one-on-one, especially out in space, and making sure you're keeping the ball out of the paint, make sure you're keeping the ball there.
Really what I was upset with wasn't that, it was because I knew the matchup was going to be a problem. So we were going to have be a high execution team today. And to Sky's point, they know the message was we can't try to win a three-point shooting contest. So if they get hot, we can't just grab it and shoot it and try to match them. And that's what we did. You got to ask questions. Whether you win or lose, you got to try to get better. You got to try to get better.
I talked to him tonight when he said, I'm not shooting well. I said, let me worry about that. Just keep doing your job.
Well, usually when we shoot it well, we're moving it well, right? We're sharing it, and the assist numbers bear that out too. So I felt we moved it, we changed sides, guys are unselfish and making plays for each other. And when you do that, the ball finds, like John said, the ball will find its way back to you. The ball finds the energy, and I felt we were all playing with energy, and it showed with how good we were offensively.
We're a program, we pride ourselves on being humble and learning something from every opponent. And the way that Spartan team competes, then it showed us what championship level competitive spirit looks like. And so we felt like we did that in the second half, and then we did that in practice this week. And that, I think that's like I said, we learned something new from every opponent, and that's what we learned from Michigan State. And as a program, we walked out of there and just said our culture's not there yet.
We said going to this tournament we want to be the hardest playing, toughest team on the floor. We were not today, particularly in the second half. Thought they made a lot of tough plays, started right out of the gate in the second half with all the old boards in the first possession. I didn't think we competed hard enough on the rebounds. We didn't do a good enough job on defense. They started the second half, a 17-5 run the first 5.5 minutes. It's not what we expected out of this group to start the second half, so we just going to have to regroup, see how bad we want to try to make a run again. Yeah, I mean, it's the NCAA tournament. It's only 68 teams that get in out of, 360-some Division I. So, we'll be one of the top 8. I would guess we'll be a 2 seed, sent somewhere. So it'll be set up for us to make, a deep run again. But we're going to have to do a little soul searching and see how bad we want to make a deep run. I mean, the effort I saw in the second half wasn't what I would have liked to see going into the NCAA tournament. So, we're going to get back there, watch the selection show, figure out who the first opponent is, figure out who the next 2 possible ones after that is get to work as a staff and a scouting report, and our players are going to have to really determine how bad they want to make a run, because it's really player-led more than anything, and with the effort and the toughness I saw the second half tonight, like that's not going to get us very far. So,
here in the middle. What's the thought process in not calling a timeout during the 17-2 run? And then overall, just what's your philosophy on that? Do you like to let the players kind of work it out themselves in the court?
Yeah, I told them, what do you guys want me to call a timeout and tell you to play harder? Like we already said, we sat in the video room after the first time we played Florida. We said we were going to be the hardest playing, toughest team. We came out of it's not because we're tired. Like, I mean, we make up a lot of excuses. They played last night, we played last night. We came out of a 15-minute break at halftime, and they just played harder than us. So you want me to call timeout and tell you to be tougher and play harder? We already said we were going to do that. You guys got to determine whether you're going to do that or not. So yeah, they need to figure some stuff out, to be honest with you. They need to figure out whether they want to be the hardest playing, toughest team on the floor or not. I think we're close to being an elite team that can make another Final Four run, but I don't know how many times, we can play somebody and basically the loss is because we didn't play hard enough. Like that's a little frustrating. So I think the lesson learned last year was we're not going to get anywhere, being 110th or whatever we were, 112th ranked defense in the country. Like we're going to have to determine we're going to actually guard somebody. And it was more when you get locked in to what you have to do to win a game and you're really talented on offense, the offense takes care of itself a lot. I go back to like what we said we were going to be. Were we the hardest playing, toughest team on the floor? Was our backcourt the hardest playing, toughest backcourt on the floor? Like if we were locked into the defensive end and we're playing off stops more, I think the offense comes a lot easier. When, particularly in the second half, like you said, LeBaron wasn't great on both sides of the ball for large parts of the game after he had an unbelievable game yesterday. So, I don't know if it's just freshman, but we need him to be better because we're going to rely on him to win games in the NCAA tournament. I don't know. They've got a tough backcourt. They're very good defensively, too. They got some of the best defensive guards in the country as well. So they obviously did a good job with us. But I think we got to buy into just being tough on the defensive end and letting the offense take care of itself. Like, as long as you don't turn it over. Now, we had too many turnovers, too many black shots at the rim, too many poor rim decisions, in my opinion. But it was more when you get locked in to what you have to do to win a game and you're really talented on offense, the offense takes care of itself a lot. I go back to, like, what we said we were going to be. Were we the hardest playing, toughest team on the floor? Was our backcourt the hardest playing, toughest backcourt on the floor? Like if we were locked into the defensive end and we're playing off stops more, I think the offense comes a lot easier. When, particularly in the second half, like you said, LeBaron wasn't great on both sides of the ball for large parts of the game after he had an unbelievable game yesterday. So, I don't know if it's just freshman, but we need him to be better because we're going to rely on him to win games in the NCAA tournament. I don't know. They've got a tough backcourt. They're very good defensively, too. They got some of the best defensive guards in the country as well. So they obviously did a good job with us. But I think we got to buy into just being tough on the defensive end and letting the offense take care of itself. Like, as long as you don't turn it over. Now, we had too many turnovers, too many black shots at the rim, too many poor rim decisions, in my opinion. But
I simply think our depth wore out in the second half. Our showed out in the second half. And we were able to get in their bench a little bit. Our bench stepped up, made some really big-time plays, allowed us to get some rest for our starters. And we just kept coming in waves in the second half. And thought we did an incredible job wearing them down.
Make it possible. Kadari is about as much fun to coach as any coach could have because he takes coaching really well and he owns up to every mistake he makes. John's didn't get built by the NIL. St. John's got built with character of the players. And certainly we are excited to have these young men.
The guys just did a great job, and it helped us to have 3 days because against the matchup zone defense, you have to score on passing and cutting. you can't dribble your way into it. They're going to steal the ball. So, but their spirit and their mindset to be a great defensive team tonight just took Utah State out of their comfort zone. An uncomfortable team shoot a low percentage. And our last time out, obviously, we let Wisconsin get comfortable. We paid the price. So, if you're going to advance, you got to believe you're supposed to win in this damn tournament. The number next to your name was given to you by a bunch of people that never played basketball in a room. So what the hell do they know? You know, you got to believe you're supposed to advance and win. To me, it's a big part of it. And it's helped us where we're 10-3 in my time at UCLA in the NCAA tournament. And I just think his spirit, to your question, Ben, like this week, like Eric, he knows we're in it's tournament time. I mean, he knows.
That's why you see people drive the basketball so hard and get the ball in the paint. And that's what we're all trying to do. Like we sit there at halftime of every game and talk about, all right, here's the percentages of us getting in the paint offensively. And here's the percentages of us stopping them from getting in there. When our numbers are good, our numbers are good both ways, we're in business. When our numbers are bad both ways, we're starting the second half normally, down 6 to 10 points. And that's what we just have to keep doing because those numbers don't lie.
Working on the things that you guys do versus working on combating the things that your opponent is going to do.
I think you work on both. You work on what's going to be successful against their defense, what you have to stay away from because they defended very well, and then you have to take away everything that they do well. And you rely on your pressure, you rely on, if they're a great three-point shooting team, you've got to extend your defense.
A good example for us to learn that you've got to come out tight on the game plan and adherence to the game plan. You can't let another team get started to their strengths and make it, because you start a snowball rolling downhill and it picks up steam. So
Wagner, he can run. Oh, I like what they just did there. That's the move. Davis is fouled.
And all of them here had to overcome stuff. And they did. They did because they're good guys. They've been raised right. And they knew they finally, not at the beginning of the year, that we absolutely need each other or we're going down together. And they became one heartbeat. Now, all of a sudden, whatever the team needs, they figured out that if I worry more about the team and less about myself, man, I play better. And so, but it took time.
We lost the game because we did not move the basketball enough, and that led to us shooting a very low percentage. We're a team that we have to get a high number of assists to win, and we didn't tonight.
That want to get better, like Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, you can go right down the list. Like, you got to give them the credit more than us, but you also got to give us the credit for finding that out about them, that it matters to them and it cares. And because players are made in the off season. Those guys had great off seasons. And
I went through what I think are the key points in teams advancing in this tournament. One of them is turnovers, one of them is giving up fast break points, and one of them is making your free throws.